சம்மான் துறையில் பிரிண்டிங் துறையின் முன்னோடி பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங் வாடிக்கையாளர் மனம் கவர் விதவிதமான திருமண அழைப்பிதழ்கள்,
பேனர், handbills, rubber stamps, graphic designing and printing, mug printing, digital printing என அனைத்து விதமான பிரிண்டிங் தேவைகளுக்கும்
பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங், அல்மார்ஜான் தேசிய பாடசாலை முன்பாக, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மான் துறை.
தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0772635922. உரிமையாளர் AMM ஆஷே. நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர் கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர். இலக்கம் 432, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 077775 அல்லது 0777 சுதேசி உற்பத்திகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட பிராந்திய முகவர் நிறுவனம் அச்சீவர். உரிமையாளர் RN ரைஹான். இர்ஷாத் காதர் நற்பணி மன்றம், சம்மாந்துறை. மொஃபோ நென்சலர் அண்ட் எஜுகேஷன் காலேஜ், மொஃபோ ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் கிளப், 2015 ஓரிவில் பெட்ச் ஃபவுண்டேஷன், சம்மாந்துறை. ஃபியூச்சர், சம்மாந்துறை. ரிலையன்ஸ் பிரிண்டிங் அண்ட் அட்வர்டைசிங், ருசான் ஸ்டுடியோ, சம்மாந்துறை.
Assalamu alaikum, viewers around the globe. In last lesson, we looked at about the mechanical wave. Today, in this lesson, we are going to discuss about electromagnetic waves and sound. This chapter is all about grade 11, unit number 4. It's me, Ziad, and teacher of biology and science. In this lesson, the first we're going to discuss about electromagnetic wave. See that term, electromagnetic wave. If you look at this term, there are two terms inside. What is that? Electro and magnet. This wave is formed because of electric field and magnetic field. We studied about how waves are formed. Because of the disturbance of medium, waves are formed. But here, electromagnetic waves are formed because of the disturbance or the movement of electric field and magnetic field. Let's look. The wave which propagate without medium is called electromagnetic wave. In last lesson, we studied what is mechanical wave. The wave which can travel with only medium, that is called mechanical wave. But here, if you look at this one, without medium, which means to travel this medium, to travel this wave, medium is not needed. So the wave which propagate, what is mean propagate, movement, without medium is called electromagnetic wave. A medium is not needed for propagation of electromagnetic wave. As I said earlier, to travel this electromagnetic wave, medium is not needed. Electromagnetic waves consist of electric field and magnetic field. As I said earlier, to form these electromagnetic wave, electric field and magnetic field are trying to form that. How these electromagnetic field, electric field and magnetic field are propagate? As I said earlier, mechanical waves, when mechanical waves move, what happens? The particles of that wave propagate perpendicular or in that way. But here when these electromagnetic waves are travel or propagate, the electric field and magnetic fields are propagate or move perpendicular to that. What is perpendicular? செங்குத்தாக. அதாவது மின்புலமும் காந்தப்புலமும் ஒன்றுக்கொன்று செங்குத்தாக அதிரும்போது electromagnetic wave மின்காந்த அலைகள் உருவாகும். See, here if you see this picture shows how these electromagnetic waves are formed. Here waves are moving in this way, and here this red color is electric field and the blue color is magnetic field, and this direction is movement of wave. So when these electric field and magnetic fields are propagate perpendicular, if you see this picture, I can explain using this video. See this one. The waves are propagate this side, and the electric field and the magnetic fields are propagate perpendicular. What it means perpendicular? செங்குத்தாக. So மின்புலமும் காந்தப்புலமும் செங்குத்தாக அதிரும்போது electric field அல்ல electromagnetic field move ஆகும். That travels with speed of 2.988 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1 in a vacuum. We studied mechanical wave speed, that is normally if it's a sound that is 330 meter per second, but the waves of the speed of electromagnetic wave is constant. So if you look at this one, the travel speed of these electromagnetic waves in a vacuum 2.988 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1, but it is often taken as 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1 in calculation. So it is a type of transverse wave. Very important point here. We looked at there are two types of mechanical waves, transverse wave and longitudinal waves. But electromagnetic waves is a type of transverse wave. But to travel this electromagnetic wave, medium is not needed. Keeping that in your mind. If you find this equation for this one, we looked at to find these in mechanical waves, to find the speed, we used V is equal F lambda. But in this electromagnetic wave, there is an equation to find these velocity or speed or frequency or wavelength. C is equal speed of wave is equal frequency into wavelength. We already looked at V is equal F lambda, but the term or letter we used here is C. In that mechanical wave we used what? V. But here you must use the letter is C. C equal F lambda. As I said earlier, the speed of electromagnetic wave is constant, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1. So if it's a constant, if it's a 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1, when frequency increases, what happens actually to equalize this 3 into 10 to the power 8? Lambda will reduce. At the time when frequency reduce, lambda is what? Increase. So what I'm saying this one, the constant speed of electromagnetic wave equation should be C equal to F into lambda, not V is equal to F lambda. Okay, now we are going to talk about this electromagnetic wave, and from that electromagnetic spectrum should be studied. In this lesson, electromagnetic spectrum should be studied. What is electromagnetic spectrum? There are lots of variety of electromagnetic waves are on the globe. So to study, to understand, to explain that about these electromagnetic waves, scientists have been found according to the frequency and wavelength, they categorize and they ordered in an ascending frequency order using that electromagnetic wave. If you look at this, what is electromagnetic spectrum? The diagram which was prepared according to the ascending order. What is ascending order? Adhigarithu chellum. A frequency of electromagnetic wave is called electromagnetic spectrum. மின்காந்த திருசியம் என்று சொல்லப்படும். How this electromagnetic spectrum has been ascended or designed. See this diagram. This is electromagnetic spectrum. We will be talking about this electromagnetic spectrum in this lesson whole. See this one. There is a wave is called gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, invisible light. This is very important. Infrared radiation, microwaves and radio waves. This is enough for your syllabus. And if you come to that low frequency and extremely low frequency waves and direct current. If you look at these electromagnetic spectrum, see that waves forms. If you see that waveform, the frequency what increasing here. From left to right, frequency increasing. How to understand how these frequencies increasing? See these waves. This is the indication frequency simply increasing with the time intervals. So when frequency increasing from left to right, so the highest frequency rays should be what? Gamma rays. And lowest frequency wave should be what? Radio wave. And as I said earlier, C is equal F lambda. And C is a constant. And F is high. If it's the highest for gamma rays, then it should be what? The lambda should be what? Very much low. So if any question come according to this electromagnetic spectrum, which wave is highest frequency, that is gamma rays, and you don't need to think about these which have lowest wavelength. You don't need to think about. Using this equation, you can identify if it's a constant. If it's a high, then it should be what? Simply low. And also, see this one, radio waves is lowest frequency waves. If it's F is very much low here, then radio waves lambda should be what? Very much high. So the question will come simply, what is highest frequency wave and which is highest wavelength, which is lowest frequency, which is highest frequency, something like that question come. And also in this electromagnetic spectrum, you must know this order. How to remember, we'll be talking about later, but I'm going to say this one. This is gamma rays and this is X-rays. Simply you can easily understand or remember Xg here. And here this is radio wave and microwaves here, and simply you can write Rm. So in this side Rm and that side Xg. And here we will be talking about this visible light. Visible light contain vapor. See that? Vapor. We'll be talking about the later, but I'm going to say how to remember this. This is violet rays. And if it's next ultraviolet. Ultra means above the violet. And here this is red. And if it's red here, then infrared here. So you don't need to remember these three because you can easily identify using visible light here, and here violet, then ultraviolet, here red and infrared. In Tamil we call these one ultraviolet, pura uda kadirgal. Udakku puramaga irupadu. And here this infrared, what is that? Sennira keel kadirgal. Sivappu nirathirkku keelulla kadirgal. And how to remember Rm, Xg here, then visible light, then also if you know this vapor, this is 7 light color of light, invisible light. So if it's violet, then it should be ultraviolet, and red should be infrared. So how to remember this one? From left to right, frequency increasing, that's only you must know. If it's frequency increasing here, highest frequency, here will be lowest frequency. If it's highest frequency, lambda will be low. If it's low here, then lambda would be what? High. So you don't need to remember this one. You can only remember, it's enough to remember this one. So if you see this diagram again, this one, this is radio waves and TV, microwaves, infrared, visible light, X-rays and gamma rays. This was discovered earlier. And if you see this diagram, electromagnetic spectrum, simply gamma rays, X-rays, and these all are electromagnetic waves. Here gamma rays is highest frequency. So frequency is highest frequency. Frequency is decreasing from top to bottom, which means, and waves length or longest wavelength, which wave has? Radio waves. So according to that, as I said earlier, you must know one thing: gamma rays is highest frequency. If it's highest frequency, then it will have a lowest wavelength. If it's highest frequency, it will be lowest frequency. If it's a lowest frequency, then lambda would be highest in radio waves. Now we're going to talk about the detail about the types of electromagnetic waves. The first electromagnetic waves here, gamma rays. In Tamil we call this one gamma kadirgal. The gamma rays are the type of wave emitted by radioactive elements. You must know what is radioactive elements. Plutonium, uranium, those types of elements emit gamma rays. Frequency of the ray is really high, so quantity of energy stored is also high. If frequency is high in gamma rays and the energy, what is energy? The energy is all about frequency in waves. When frequency increasing in this electromagnetic wave, energy also will be high. And also they have ability to penetrate concrete and steel plate. You must know these one. This section is all about studying, simply reading it, that's all. But you have to know mainly electromagnetic spectrum. So we must know why these concrete and steel plate, these gamma rays are penetrate, because of high frequency and high energy. What are the usage of these gamma rays here? used to destroy cancer cells. These gamma rays are used to destroy cancer cells and used to sterilize medical surgical instruments by killing microorganisms. In hospitals, they use these gamma rays to kill microorganisms, in medical and surgical instruments. Second electromagnetic waves is X-rays. We must know this one. What is X? Is we don't know X. This X-rays was discovered because it was discovered accidentally, and this rays was discovered and they wanted to find, or they wanted to put the name, and they don't know, and they put a simple name, what? X. In Tamil we call Periyakkaniyam. How these X-rays are formed here? X-rays are generated by bombarding, which means you pass that one, bombarding high-speed electrons. You must know these one, atoms contain electron, proton and neutron, and when you bombard these electrons on metal targets, when you pass or when you bombard these electrons to this metal, X-rays are formed. If you see this one, here is a glass envelope and this is an X-ray tube, and here electrons are moving, and this is a copper rod, this is metal or metal targets. When you pass these electrons to these metal targets, X-rays are produced. How? High speed of electron. And this X-rays was discovered and they named, without knowing anything, then they called X-rays. And what are the usage of these X-rays? Used to take photographs of internal organs of the human body. We usually know that one X-ray, and we used to take that one. So X-rays are used to take X-ray pictures or photographs. Second one, used to check baggage of airline passengers and cargo inside container without opening them. We must know this one, lots of smuggling occurs in cargoes in aeroplane or airport, and they want to find anything they want to find, they use what? X-rays to find it that. The main thing is what these X-rays are, it could be danger. The X-rays, high exposure to X-rays can cause what? Sometimes cancer. So it's a thing you have to know when these people are radiographers and other people, when they do this one, they must realize how this severe to them. The third electromagnetic wave, visible or ultraviolet rays. Ultra means in Tamil pura uda kadirgal. Ultraviolet means above violet. As I said earlier, this is gamma rays. And next one is what? X-rays. And how to find this one? Are radio waves. And this is microwaves. And as I said earlier, inside here what? Visible light. Inside this visible light, vibgyor there. So if I say vibgyor here, and behind this R, it should be what? IR, infrared rays. And here violet, which means Uda Kadirgal. And above violet, it would be what? Ultraviolet means what? Above violet, which means UV rays. This is the order. Simply XG, RM and visible light, ultraviolet, then IR. So you must know this order. That's what I'm saying this one. How to remember RM and then XG, here visible light, and UV and IR. So if you confuse this one, you use this one. Everybody know this one, Vibgyor. This is a type of rainbow colors. So if you look at this ultraviolet, here violet, indigo, Vibgyor, green, yellow, orange, red. Violet, the color. The ultraviolet present here above the violet. That is what you must know here. The wave which shows an above the violet visible rays is called what? Violet ultraviolet ray. This is an invisible to human, very important. You can't observe this one. But insects like bees can detect ultraviolet. There was a question in past paper, I think the bees can detect, or bees like insects detect ultraviolet, but humans cannot. Human eye cannot. Ultraviolet rays are also produced in electric charge and forms mercury vapor lens. These are simple notes. If you find this book, you can easily understand this one. So what you have to know, mainly ultraviolet present above the violet rays of visible light. And these are the usage of these ultraviolet rays. Used to produce vitamin D, human body. Usually we've been asked to stay in early morning sunny days because ultraviolet forms in our body and it forms what? Vitamin D. So which is being used to produce what? Vitamin D in human body. Second one, used in hospitals to kill germs. What is germs? Pathogenic microorganisms. So when you want to kill this one, this is all, the gamma ray is also used to kill microorganisms in surgical and medical instruments. Like that, here this ultraviolet also used. And also used to detect false currencies. What? We can call this one Kallakasi. So if they want to find these false currencies, they use what? Ultraviolet rays. And these, you must know this note, overexposure to ultraviolet rays can cause cataract. In Tamil we call this one katkasam. Overusages of ultraviolet, if you see this human eye, this is human eye lens. Inside this fiber protein, when ultraviolet comes to this fiber protein, it will become very much thicker. This lens will become very much thicker because of this fiber protein changed to this so much of thick, and that is called what? Cataract. Because of this ultraviolet, this fiber protein are induced and become thicker, then that is called cataract. The eye and the cancers in the skin. So you must know this one, except visible rays, these ultraviolets and other electromagnetic waves are very much danger.
சம்மாந்துறையில் பிரிண்டிங் துறையின் முன்னோடி பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். வாடிக்கையாளர் மனம் கவர் விதவிதமான திருமண அழைப்பிதழ்கள்,
banner and base, rubber stamps, graphic designing and printing, mug printing, digital printing என அனைத்து விதமான பிரிண்டிங் தேவைகளுக்கும்
பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். அல்மார்ஜான் தேசிய பாடசாலை முன்பாக, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை.
தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0777635922. உரிமையாளர் AMM ஆஷிக். நியூ HRM ஆத்வயா கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஆத்வயா. இலக்கம் 432, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0777735 அல்லது 077-332-8780. சுதேசி உற்பத்திகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட பிராந்திய முகவர் நிறுவனம் அச்சீவர். உரிமையாளர் RM ரைஹான். இர்ஷாத் காதர் நெற்பணி மன்றம், சம்மாந்துறை. மொஃபோ நென்சலர் அண்ட் எஜுகேஷன் காலேஜ், மொஃபோ ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் கிளப், 2015 ஓ-லெவல் பேட்ச் ஃபவுண்டேஷன், சம்மாந்துறை. ஃபியூச்சர், சம்மாந்துறை. ரிலையன்ஸ் பிரிண்டிங் அண்ட் அட்வர்டைசிங், ருசான் ஸ்டுடியோ, சம்மாந்துறை.
Okay. Now the fourth electromagnetic type is visible rays, or we can say visible light. As I said earlier, the wave which present in electromagnetic spectrum between the human visible range. The visible range of our eye could be different, but these electromagnetic waves, for example, gamma rays you can't observe, X-rays you can't observe, ultraviolet you can't observe, but these visible rays, in Tamil we call this one Katpula Oli. So this visible range is called visible rays or visible light. These waves simply can be observed using our human eye, using our visible range. So these visible rays contain mainly 7 type of color of waves. As I said earlier, these are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. We can say this one what? Vibj Yo. These are the rainbow's color. That's how these 7 colors are coming out when rainbows are formed because of the refraction we'll be talking about later in light. Visible rays are separated as 7 rays, a color of rays, and these are Vibgyor. And they will ask another question in this one, which waves would be highest frequency? The frequency, highest frequency wave is what? Violet. Simply violet. If you look at this one here, when you pass a light here and when it refracts here, this light would be violet. Because of this high refraction index, this refracts like that. And here, if you see final one, will be red. So if it's a high frequency index means highest frequency, simply you can understand this one. And also this one is red and Vibgyor here. The very important point of these visible rays is what? The wavelength range is from 690 nanometer and 400 nanometer. So you must simply understand this one. What are the usages? What are the ranges? What kind of frequency? That's what you must know in this electromagnetic wave. The fifth in electromagnetic wave is what? Infrared waves. Infrared waves means செந்நிறக்கீழ் கதிர்கள். And we can say that a heat ray. Heat, there are 2 types of rays or energy coming out from sun. One is heat, second one light. Light is used for the photosynthesis as we know, but not heat. Heat is a type of energy, and that energy is transmitted. Why? How? Because of these rays. How these rays are transmitted? As what? Electromagnetic waves, as electromagnetic waves. So here, the waves which propagate present, or which waves which present in electromagnetic spectrum below the visible red color rays. As I said earlier, this is in Tamil we call this one what? Infrared means below, which means செந்நிறக்கீழ் கதிர். Another name is for this infrared rays is what? Heat or thermal rays. Because if you feel any type of heat, which means you are feeling infrared rays, which means this infrared rays moving from one place to another place. So another name for these infrared rays is heat or thermal rays, because it emits from where? Heated body. And these are the usages of these infrared rays, used to detect diseases in human body using heat photographs. You must know in our body has a specific temperature. Using that temperature, if it's a temperature, then there should be heat. using that heat, for example, this point and there are this point, different types of point, different heat could be. But using that heat photographs are formed in our body. Using that photograph, diseases are found. Used to observe environment at night. You must know this one without light you can't observe any object, but infrared rays are used to observe environment at night. Used to transmit signal from remote to television. You must know this one. In remote we usually use that. In air condition or this television they are using that. What type of waves are used in that specific instruments? That is what infrared rays. Used in physiotherapy. Physiotherapy is very much important topic here. Heat waves or heat rays or infrared rays are used in physiotherapy, medical instruments, or we can say medical treatment. The next one is microwaves. In Tamil we call this one nun alaygal, and micro means nun alaygal, macro means pari alaygal அல்லது பெரிய அலைகள். But here we're going to talk about these microwaves. The microwaves, their range of frequency below infrared frequency is known as what? Microwave. Simply, if you know that spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum, then you can easily understand everything that I have given now. The usages of microwave is what? Used in radars, systems, mobile phones, and microwaves ovens. As we know, this is famous microwaves ovens. Ovens are used to baking something, food items. So in that instruments they are using microwaves. And another one is mobile phones. Why these mobile phones are very much danger? Because from the mobile phones, a kind of waves, microwaves are emit. There are loads of different type of dangerous waves are coming out from mobile phone. Also, microwaves are coming out. These are very much danger and used in radar system also, as you know that one, radars. An instrument known as the magnetron. If you see in your book, there is a picture in magnetron, and I couldn't bring it here. The magnetron is used to produce microwaves in microwave ovens. If you look at this microwave oven, inside magnetron there is a instrument which forms what? Microwaves, and radar system also. And what I'm saying this one, how these food items are baked using microwaves. That is what you have to know. In micro ovens, water inside food, water and fat in food have the ability to absorb microwaves. Food absorb microwaves and convert that energy into vibrational, and convert that energy into vibrational kinetic energy. What type of energy? Heat energy. If it's a food there, if it microwaves comes, the food particles, which is fat and the water, absorb that microwaves and it forms what? Heat, and because of that heat, foods are baked. Microwaves too can cause what? Adverse effect. As I said earlier, except these visible rays, all these electromagnetic waves are very much danger in some times. The next one is what? Radio waves. The radio waves is, we call this one radio alaygal. The final one in electromagnetic spectrum in your syllabus. The electromagnetic wave which has what? Lowest frequency, as I said earlier. How to remember this one? R, M, and here X, G, and here visible, and here infrared, and here what? Ultraviolet. So this is lowest frequency. This is what? Highest frequency. This is lowest frequency. They will ask this kind of question: which has highest frequency, which has lowest frequency, which has lowest wavelength, which have highest wavelength. Like that question they will ask. The highest wavelength, if it's lowest frequency, then it will have what? Highest wavelength is called what? Radio waves. It is produced by radio frequency oscillation. Radio frequency oscillation. We know that mechanical waves are produced because of the oscillation of medium's particle, like that here. Radio frequency oscillation, you must know this one, FM. And this FM is how it's produced because of that radio frequency. When it changed that, the oscillation change. Because of that changes, these waves are changed. For example, if you know Shakti FM, for example 101.3 hertz, or we can say like that, and how they change that waves. When they frequency change, the wave change, and also the receiving of that information also will change. Antennas are used to transmit and receive this type of wave, as we know that. Information is transmitted through radio waves by modifying amplitude and frequency. As I said earlier, for example, Shakti FM ஒரு ஹெர்ட்ஸில் வருது, சூரியன் FM ஒரு ஹெர்ட்ஸில் வருது. ஸோ எப்படி அது ரெண்டும் வித்தியாசமாக வருதுன்னு சொன்னால், they change the frequency and the amplitude of. Frequency is what? அதிர்வெண். Amplitude is what? வீச்சம். அந்த ரெண்டு waves அதிர்வெண்ணையும் வீச்சத்தையும் they are changing and forming different types of radio waves. That's why we get different types of information from Shakti FM and Suryan FM, something like that. These are the usages of these radio waves used in long distance communication. For example, in TV also this waves is used. So in Colombo they are using that one, and you are watching this program, and this program is done by someone somewhere else, and this is being telecasted using this in Facebook Live, and you are using this mobile phone. In the mobile phone there is a frequency of waves comes from this, there is a tower, and here this program is happening and you are watching in your home. How this possible? Because of these radio waves and a type of electromagnetic waves, it is happening, and these are the main usages of these radio waves. Usually the long distance communication is very much important use.
New HRM hardware கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர். இலக்கம் 432 அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0777735 அல்லது 07733287880.
Okay. Now we have discussed electromagnetic waves and their types and their usages and their frequency ranges and electromagnetic spectrum. We are going to move. The next topic here is what? Sound. Interestingly, why this sound topic came to this wave and the application unit. Sound is a type of energy. Sound is a type of mechanical wave. Sound is a type of what mechanical wave? Longitudinal waves. In Tamil we call this one நெட்டாங்கு அலைகள் அல்லது நெடுக்கலைகள். So we looked at the mechanical waves and there are two types. For that only the longitudinal waves, and there was an example I have given in last class. What is that? Sound. So in this lesson, we are going to discuss about sound. Sound is a type of energy like heat energy, electric energy, magnetic energy, light energy. Sound is a type of energy. When I talk, sound is produced, and how you are hearing because of the waves movement. And how these waves are moving? Using longitudinal waves movement. How these longitudinal waves are moving? Movement of particles parallel to the movement of waves. Now, a type of energy that produces the sensation of hearing in our ear is called sound. மனித காதினால் உணரக்கூடிய சக்தியின் ஒரு வடிவம் தான் sound. You can't hear light, you can't hear heat, you can't hear electric energy, but you can hear what? Sound. Sound is a type of energy, and also it's a type of wave. So in this lesson we are going to discuss about again how these sound are moving. When I talk, you are hearing how you are hearing the sound which I prepare or create. The sound is a type of longitudinal waves. So what is that? Medium is essential for its propagation. It's a very important point that it travels in solid, liquid, and also gases. You must know this one. Or you can say what if it's not air. As I said earlier, air is different, gas is different, breeze is different, and cyclone is different. So you must know that. So this can travels liquid, gas, and solid. When sound wave travels among particles, what happens? Sound is a type of longitudinal waves. So if that longitudinal waves, compression and rarefaction also formed. See this one, how the when sound moves, particles are moving. Here this sound movement of particles. See this point here, if you look at this point here, when sound of air particles moves, here rarefaction forms. Then in this point, what is happening? The compression occurring, then rarefaction, then compression, rarefaction, and compression. This is how sound is moving from one place to another place as wave, and the movement of particle according to the rarefaction and compression. If you look at this one, compression region, the number of air molecules increases and also pressure also increase. The very important point here. When compression occurs, when sound move here, the movement of these particles compressed. When compression occurs this point and this point, what happens? The pressure in this point will be what? High. And also the pressure of this point would be very much low. So the lower pressure point is rarefaction and the higher pressure point is what? Compression. Simply this sound is propagated according to the rarefaction and the complex compression.
சம்மான் துறையில் பிரிண்டிங் துறையின் முன்னோடி பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங் வாடிக்கையாளர் மனம் கவர் விதவிதமான திருமண அழைப்பிதழ்கள்,
பேனர், handbills, rubber stamps, graphic designing and printing, mug printing, digital printing என அனைத்து விதமான பிரிண்டிங் தேவைகளுக்கும்
பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங், அல்மார்ஜான் தேசிய பாடசாலை முன்பாக, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை.
தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0772635922. உரிமையாளர் AMM ஆஷே. நியூ HRM ஆத்வயா கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஆத்வயார். இலக்கம் 432, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 077775 அல்லது 0777 சுதேசி உற்பத்திகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட பிராந்திய முகவர் நிறுவனம் அச்சீவர் உரிமையாளர் RM ரைஹான் இர்ஷாத் காதர் நற்பணி மன்றம் சம்மாந்துறை மொஃபோ நென்சிலர் அண்ட் எஜுகேஷன் காலேஜ் மொஃபோ ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் கிளப் 2015 ஓரிவில் பெட்ச் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் சம்மாந்துறை ஃபியூச்சர் சம்மாந்துறை ரிலையன்ஸ் பிரிண்டிங் அண்ட் அட்வர்டைசிங் ருசான் ஸ்டுடியோ சம்மாந்துறை.
If you look at this video here, the propagation of air molecules when travels moves, see this one. Here in a speaker, and if you look at this point, therefore, if you take this point, rarefaction and compression occurs marginally and coming again and again, it's moving. So this is how molecules or the water or any particles are moving when sound propagates. When sound propagates, this is how the movement of particles occurring. And here this is the point of pressure increase because of this compression, and this is called what? This point is compression. And when these particles are moving here, if you look at this red color point, and it becomes compression and it becomes rarefaction, and the pressure increasing, then it becomes what? The pressure of this one is decreasing. So what I'm saying this one, so here this point is pressure decrease, and we can call this one what? Rarefaction. So simply when sound move, rarefaction and compression occurs because of the movement of these particles pressure. So simply you must understand this concept. Now we are going to discuss about when sound is moving. We know, and sound is a type of longitudinal waves. We know to propagate sound or to move sound, medium is essential. Without medium, sound cannot propagate or move. For example, if you go inside a hole, and there is inside a hole, and there was no any air inside that hole, then if you shout anyhow, you can't observe even because there is no medium inside hole. See this one, experiment to understand that the medium is essential for sound propagation. அதாவது ஒலி ஒன்று நகரும்போது அல்லது ஒலி ஒரு இடத்திலிருந்து இன்னொரு இடத்துக்கு போகிறதுக்கு மீடியம் தேவையா இல்லையான்னு பார்க்க போறோம். Simply there is a diagram here. This is a bell jar bell. We can call this one min money. And you can see this one in your school's bells, electric bells. And see here, this is electric bell here. Here is a switch and there is a battery. What happens when you switch it on and this electric bell vibrate and you can hear the sound. But here what is vacuum pump? This pump can suck inside air particle in jar bell, and water particle, air particle, when it suck it using this vacuum pump, then here no air. Then what happens when you switch on? If there is no air, even if its electric bell vibrate more, you can't hear the sound, which means without medium you can't hear the sound or sound particle, or when sound moves, particle should vibrate. So to vibrate particle there should be a medium. So without medium, sound cannot travel from one place to another place. Let's look, another topic is speed of sound. We looked at the speed of mechanical waves, speed of electromagnetic waves. If I ask one question, what is the speed of light? 3 into 10 to the power 8. What is the speed of microwave? 3 into 10 to the power 8. What is the speed of gamma rays? That is also 3 into 10 to the power 8, because those are constant. But sound waves, or the speed of sound, can be different in different medium. But electromagnetic waves speed is constant anywhere. But speed of sound can be vary or can be different in different medium. So if you look at the speed of sound can be different in different medium or different condition. This medium, if you see, 0 degrees Celsius dry air. Dry air means ular vali. The speed of sound is a type of mechanical wave that is what? 330 ms minus 1, which means 330 ms minus 1 means in 1 second how much of distance it can travel? 330 meter. So if you see this one, this is 0 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius dry air. There are two types of air. Normally temperature of environment 27 to 30. So I have taken 30 degrees Celsius dry air and that speed is what has increased 350. Which means when temperature increases, speed of sound also what? Increasing. And the water, inside water, the sound of wave, what? The sound speed of sound is what? 400 ms minus 1. And solid or steel, what is the speed of sound? 5000. What you can conclude using this information? The sound of speed or speed of sound could be higher in solid, then liquid, then gas. The speed of sound could be what? In solid, high, then liquid, then what? Gas. Another point, you can say gas or air. I said earlier what is gas, what is air, what is breeze, what is cyclone. But in this point, what you have to take the conclusion, when temperature increases, what happens? The speed of sound also increases. Here, the speed of sound increases when temperature increases, which means when temperature decreases, speed of sound also what? Decreases. There was a question in 2016 and question number 4, last question, that is what happens to the sound waves when temperature increases? What happens? The temperature increases, speed of sound also increases. But in electromagnetic wave, the sound is what? The speed of wave is what? Constant. Here, according to the medium or conditions, sound or speed of sound could be different. There is a question. Why we hear the sound of thunder a short while after we see light from a lightning strike taking place at a distant point? Simply sollapona, light engal vandadukku piradan sound engalukku valangum. Idiminal nadakkumbodhu light engada kannukku vandadukku piradan sound varum. What is the reason for that? What is the reason for that? Simply you can know light is a type of what? Electromagnetic wave. The speed of light is what? 300,000 kilometer per second, which means 3 into 10 to the power 8 ms minus 1. Which means in 1 second, how much of distance it can travel? 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter. What is that? Light. But the sound travels with what? If I say 30 degrees Celsius and the sound of this what? 350 ms minus 1, which means in 1 second, how much of distance it travels? 350 meter. So if I run, if two people are running in 1 second, if I run 350 meter, if other person run 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter, which will move faster? Light. Light is a type of electromagnetic wave, and so light can be seen first before sound reach to ear. So what is the reason? Because when thundering or lightning occurs, the speed of light is higher than the speed of sound in the air. That is the reason we hear first or we see light first then we hear the sound of thunder. Now look at this one. Another topic, very important topic, is characteristics of sound. There are the properties of sound that make it possible to distinguish different sound are called sound characteristics. ஒரு சவுண்டை நாங்கள் டிஃப்ரெண்டாக வேறு பிரித்தறிகிறதுக்கு இருக்கிற அதோட இயல்புகள் தான் என்னது? characteristics of sound, அதாவது ஒலியின் பண்புகள் அல்லது இயல்புகள் சொல்லப்படும். And there are three types of characteristics of sound. One is pitch. Pitch means, in Tamil we call this one urappu. And loudness means sattam. And quality, ஒலியின் குணகம் அல்லது ஒலியின் இயல்பு சொல்லப்படும். These are the two things you must know: pitch, loudness, and quality of sound. And these three things will be discussed, how the sound or these three properties or physical properties are different according to this sound. Let's see that. Let's look what is pitch. The sensation of the ear which depends on frequency. Frequency means அதிர்வெண். The sensation of ear காதினால் உணரக்கூடிய frequencyயோட டிபெண்ட்ஸா இருக்கிற ஒலியிட இயல்பு தான் pitch என்று சொல்லப்படும். We usually use this one, high pitch, low pitch. We usually use that one. Singers use that. What is that? Actually, the sensation of ear which depends on what? Frequency. Frequencyல தங்கி இருக்கிற the sense of ear, காதினால் உணரக்கூடிய ஒரு properties, characteristics தான் இந்த pitch என்று சொல்லப்படும். The sound is called pitch. If you see this one, the frequency, when frequency increasing, the pitch also what? Increasing. If I say F increasing, pitch also what? Increasing. And when frequency decreasing and pitch also, you must know this is decreasing. And if you see this one, frequency is higher, pitch is high period. We must know when frequency increase, when frequency is high, the pitch also high, as we know. Which means when frequency increasing, what? The wave period also what? Decreases. And when frequency decreases, wave period also increases. And this is the two waves which I have shown you people. The pitch of these waves is what? High, because the T is what here? Here see this one, this point, this gap and this gap. This is the wave period. If I say this is T1 and this is T2, and which is highest wave period? T2 is what? Highest wave period, which means this is F2 is F1, which means which has highest pitch. Here this one is highest pitch, and this is what? Here this is pitch is what? Low. So when frequency increasing, pitch also increasing, and the frequency is decreasing, pitch also decreasing.
சம்மாந்துறையில் பிரிண்டிங் துறையின் முன்னோடி பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். வாடிக்கையாளர் மனம் கவர் விதவிதமான திருமண அழைப்பிதழ்கள்,
பேனர், ஆன்பில்ஸ், ரப்பர் ஸ்டாம்ப்ஸ், கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங் அண்ட் பிரிண்டிங், மக் பிரிண்டிங், டிஜிட்டல் பிரிண்டிங் என அனைத்து விதமான பிரிண்டிங் தேவைகளுக்கும்
பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். அல்மார்ஜான் தேசிய பாடசாலை முன்பாக, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை.
தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0772635922. உரிமையாளர் AMM ஆஷிக். நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர் கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர். இலக்கம் 432, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 077775 அல்லது 0777 சுதேசி உற்பத்திகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட பிராந்திய முகவர் நிறுவனம் அச்சீவர். உரிமையாளர் RM ரைஹான். இர்ஷாத் காதர் நற்பணிமன்றம், சம்மாந்துறை. மொஃபோ நென்சலர் அண்ட் எஜுகேஷன் காலேஜ், மொஃபோ ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் கிளப், 2015 ஓ லெவல் பேட்ச் ஃபவுண்டேஷன், சம்மாந்துறை. Future Sammandurai, Reliance Printing and Advertising, Ruzan Studio, Sammandurai.
If you see this video, you can easily understand how when frequency increasing, the pitch also increasing. Let's look at that one. There are different types of tuning forks here. This is 128 Hz, 256 Hz, 512 Hz and 1024 Hz and 2048 Hz. There are different types of tuning forks here. When it vibrates these tuning forks, how these waveforms are changing and also pitch changing, you must know this one. Let's see that. See 128, and when tuning fork vibrate, see this waveform here, and this is simple waveform. And if you look at this 256, and when it vibrate here, and the waveforms are changing, which means frequency increasing. And here 512, the sound tuning fork, when it vibrate, these waveforms are changing. Now this frequency is increasing. And if you look at this 5024, this increasing more. And if you 248 Hz, then when it vibrates, this more increasing, which means frequency increasing means pitch increasing. That is what you must know here. When frequency increasing, the sound of pitch or the pitch of sound increasing. The second one, we're going to talk about this what? Loudness. The loudness, the sensation of that the ear gets due to the energy of wave. For example, I talk slowly now, then the loudness of this sound is slowly. If I talk more, then the loudness of this sound increasing. This loudness depends on what characteristics of sound. Especially it depends on amplitude, which means Vcham. That energy the sound waves carries. Loudness depends on the what? Amplitude. The pitch depends on what? Frequency. But the loudness is depend on what? Amplitude of sound waves. So when amplitude increases, loudness increases. When frequency increases, pitch also increases. When amplitude increases, loudness increases, and loudness decreases too. So if you look at these two waves here, this is quiet wave. Quiet means loudness, low loudness. And this is what? Loudness, high loudness, which means here if you look at this one, the amplitude of these waves, this amplitude is low, here amplitude is high. So this is low loudness waves and this is higher loudness waves. Simply when amplitude increase, the loudness also increasing. Let's look how the loudness or the amplitude depends on this loudness. We already discussed about when amplitude increase, what happens? The energy increase, which means energy increase. Now I'm going to do this one. Here is one tuning fork and here is tuning fork here and hammer. If I increase the energy, what happens? The amplitude should increase here, this display. So let's see how this varies here. See this one. When I normally hammer this one, this sound waves is normally normal amplitude. When I increase, this is increasing, the amplitude increasing. When I increase more here, then the amplitude is normally high then. And finally, when it increases more, the amplitude is very much high. When amplitude is increasing, amplitude depends on what? So the loudness is depend on what? Amplitude. So amplitude is depend on what? The amount of energy we give to vibrate any object or any object to make it sound. The next one, characteristics of sound. ஒலியின் குணகம் சொல்லப்படும். What is that actually? It is the sensation of ear which varies according to the waveform. According to the waveform, or I can say wave shape. When shape of wave different, the sensation of ear will be different. For example, if I am talking this type of sound, you are hearing, yes, yeah, Ziyad sir is talking here now. And if you listen another person that you know, his sound, if you listen his sound, another person that you non-person sound, then you will say that that person is there. So when the waveform change, the characteristics of sound also change. If you look at this one, this is a tuning fork. When it vibrates, the sound waves different. But this is what? Violin. When you make it violin, or when you play it violin, the waveform is different. And also piano, you feel these three types of different instruments sound different. Because what? When waveforms are different, when waveforms are changes, what happens? This characteristics of sound also changes. Now we're going to talk about this. Another topic is what? Hearing range. Hearing range means kertel ille. Our ear can hear range of frequency of sound. The hearing range of frequency of human ear is what? 20 hertz to 2000 hertz. There could be a question, and it is easy question, that one. This is hearing range. Below this frequency or above the frequency of the sound, you can't hear. Then there are two types of sound waves according to the hearing range. One is infrasound and second what? Ultrasound. Infrared endu padichirupinga and ultraviolet endu padichirupinga. But this is what? Infrasound. Infrared, not like that. Infrasound means கதிர்கள். And this is ultrasound, மேல் கதிர்கள். How can you define these infrasound and ultrasound? Here, sound of frequency below 20 hertz. Infrasound means if this is the range of this hearing range, the sound which can be here below 20 hertz, that is infrasound, and these sound are mainly sensitive to animals like elephant. We usually know that one elephant can detect very small sound, very small frequency sound, and also ultrasound waves means the sound of frequency above the 20,000 hertz. We can say this one 20 kilohertz too. So this is sensitive to mainly rabbit, bats and dolphin. But our people, our human ear can only identify or can only hear between this sound range 20 to 20,000 hertz. If you look at this diagram, infrasound can be seen or can be observed elephant, and ultrasound can be heard like bats and rabbits and these dolphins. But human audible range of human ear 20 to 20,000 hertz. Uses of ultrasound. Let's look uses of ultrasound. Used to find the depth of sea. Ultrasound can be used to find the depth of sea. See this one. There is a sea here. And here in this sea there is a boat or ship, we can say, and the transmitter here, this transmitter forms what? Ultrasound pulse transmission, and when it transmits this sound, and this sound will be reflect from the surface, then comes back to this what? A super detector in ships. So used to find the depth of sea is the main use of ultrasound. Let's look how can we find this depth of sea. The speed of ultrasound in the sea water is 1/400 meter per second. The sound apparatus transmit the sound. If we see this one, it transmits sound, and the speed of sound is 1/400 ms minus 1. And when it reflect here, you can use simply this depth as d. Then the distance to bottom of sea is what? d. Then distance traveled by the wave in 1 second is what? 2d, which means it comes and reflect again. So you can use this speed is equal distance over time equation. How much distance is travels? You must know the total length of any object traveled is called distance. So distance, altogether distance is 2d here, and the time taken for this one, it is given in 1 second here after 1 second. Then 2d is equal 1 over the speed of sound is here 1/400. Then this depth of sea is what? 700 meter, which means there is an equation, there is an example in your book. We can easily understand even more if you look at that one. Used to examine the interior organs of human body and to diagnose. You must know this one very easy. You can easily understand, examine the internal organs of our body. And detecting the condition of baby inside wombs. And keep in mind, there is a question 2016, question number 4, A part. There is a question. What is that? Which wave is used to detect the condition of inside womb, the baby inside womb of pregnant ladies? So this sound, ultrasound, is used to detect the inside babies, inside our pregnant mother ladies, like that. Used to remove stones from kidney without surgery. If you want to break it, the stone, kidney stone, you use what? Ultrasound. Used to detect danger of empty spaces and cracks in solid, such as part of airplanes. Inside airplanes, there should be a small cracks, and you can use this ultrasound to detect that one. And also used for welding of metal parts. Metal parts of welding also is the very much use of this ultrasound. See this one, there is an important point. Here this is what? This is bat. Bat use what? Ultrasound to communicate. When it forms, when it travels, this bat, they produce ultrasound and they detect if there is any obstacles in front that boy or that bat, then they can easily identify how to communicate, how to move in environment. So bat also use what? Ultrasound. And also here this is what? Dolphins use ultrasound waves to communicate among themselves. Very important, this one. These kind of waves are used to communicate. Dolphins are used to communicate these ultrasound.
சம்மான் துறையில் பிரிண்டிங் துறையின் முன்னோடி பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். வாடிக்கையாளர் மனம் கவர் விதவிதமான திருமண அழைப்பிதழ்கள்,
banner, handbills, rubber stamps, graphic designing and printing, mug printing, digital printing என அனைத்து விதமான பிரிண்டிங் தேவைகளுக்கும்
பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். அல்மார்ஜான் தேசிய பாடசாலை முன்பாக, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை.
தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0772635922. உரிமையாளர் AMM ஆஷே. நியூ HRM ஆத்வயா கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர், இலக்கம் 432, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0777735 அல்லது 077 332 சுதேசி உற்பத்திகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட பிராந்திய முகவர் நிறுவனம் அச்சீவர், உரிமையாளர் RM ரைஹான்.
Now we are going to discuss about the last topic of this lesson. This is what musical instruments. Everybody like these musical instruments. இசைக்கருவிகள். And why we are studying these musical instruments? Because it forms a different types of music. Music is the pleasant sound for our ear. Sound is a pleasant, if it's a pleasant to hear, and that is a music, and that music are produced by musical instrument. See this one, the instruments which generate sound that pleasing to ear so called musical instrument. And that there are three types of musical instruments. In Tamil we call this one string musical instrument, இலைக்கருவிகள், அல்லது we can say நரம்பு கருவிகள். And percussion or membrane musical instruments, மேற்பரப்பு அல்லது மென்சவ்வு கருவிகள். And wind or air instruments, காற்று கருவிகள். There are three types of musical instruments will be discussed in this topic. The first one is string musical instrument. What is that? The instruments which produce sound, the vibration of what? Strings. Simply, ilai alladhu narambu. There is an example here, sitar, violin and guitars. These are the real example for this one. What have to know in this string musical instrument, how the frequency of these musical instruments changes according to their properties. Let's see that. The frequency of sound produced string instruments depends on following factors. There are three factors of frequency of these musical instruments can depend. One is the length of vibrating string. According to the length of vibrating string, the frequency of musical instrument can be different. See that when length of string increases, the higher length here, when strings length increases, frequency what? Decreases. So when I can say like when L increases, frequency decreases. At the same time, when length of string decreases, frequency what? Increases. When length decreases, frequency increases. So the length of vibrating string is the main factors of frequency of string musical instrument. The second one, tension of string due to the level of contraction. Tension means இழுவை சொல்லப்படும். The இழுவை increase ஆகிற timeல what happens? Frequency increasing. When you take a rubber band, if you increase the tension, then the frequency of the rubber band will increase when it vibrates. Like that, the tension increasing, frequency also increasing. And the tension decreasing, frequency also decreasing. The third factor, the mass of unit length, not length, the mass of unit length. We studied about unit volume of mass is called density. Like that, 1 மீட்டர் அல்லது 1 மீட்டருடைய திணிவு அதிகரிக்கும் போது அல்லது மாறும் போது frequency-க்கு என்ன நடக்கும்? So let's see when the mass of unit length string increases, what happens? Frequency decreases, and the mass of unit length decreases, frequency increases. So there are three types of factors depends on the frequency of string musical instrument. One is this what? The length of vibrating string. Second one, mass of length and also unit mass of length. And third one is what? Tension. The second one, wind or air instrument. Or you can say this one, bagel, or flute, or conch, or we can say whistle. So these are the simple. What is that? The instruments which produce sound by the vibration of air column. If you take this flute here, and there are different types of holes, and this air inside vibrates. According to the vibration of this flute, the air column, the sound is different. When you close it this point, the sound is different. When you close this hole, and sound will be different. And when you close this hole, and sound will be different. When you change this length of, if you are giving this here, the length when it change, what happens? The sound also changes, which means the produced sound by the vibration of air columns. Columns means vali niralin அந்த நீளத்துக்கு அல்லது அதோட மாற்றத்துக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி சவுண்டை உருவாக்குற இசைக்கருவிகள் தான் என்ன சொல்லப்படும்? காற்றுக்கருவிகள் சொல்லப்படும். So these depends on the pitch of wind instrument changes with length and air column. And see this one, when length of air column increases, when L increases, which means this length increases, what happens? Pitch also increases. We studied, we looked at what is pitch and other things. And when length of air column decreases, and pitch also what decreases. What you have to know simply, the wind or air instruments means the instrument which used to depend on the vibration of air column, and also these are the things you must know, very important. And the final one is what? Percussion or membrane musical instrument. See that one. The percussion or membrane means மென்சவ்வு கருவிகள் சொல்லப்படும். You know that this tabla, when you vibrate this tabla, the sound is produced. In that tabla, what is vibrating? The membrane. The membrane vibrate instruments which produce sound by the contracted membrane. Very important. Contracted means இழுக்கப்பட்ட. So contracted membrane, sticks or plates are known as what? Percussion instruments. Here, this is tabla and dalcania, rabana and xylophone. In xylophone, here, these sticks or plates are vibrating here. Not like this. This is what? Percussion or membrane. In here, in dalcania, here membrane is vibrating. In tabla, membrane is vibrating. But xylophone, inside xylophone, here plates or sticks are vibrate. But we can include this also what? As percussion or membrane musical instrument. Here, Daula, these are the ancient musical instrument, and palameter, these are also ancient musical instrument. Beating is essential to produce sound to these sound. Without beating, you can't produce sound here. And also the pitch of percussion instrument can be changed. Area of membrane, for example, this is a tabla here, this is area, and if it's high area here, and the tension of membrane are changed. What is that? The pitch is depend on two things in percussion membrane. One is what? Area of membrane and the tension of membrane. What happens? Let's see that. When tension of the contracted membrane increases, when tension increases, what happens? Pitch also what? Increases. At the same time, tension mean இழுவை. தொஞ்சி காணப்படும் போது சவுண்ட் நார்மலா தான் கேட்கும். பட் நல்லா இழுத்து கட்டுனம்னு சொன்னா என்ன செய்யும்? அந்த சவுண்ட் pitch அதிகரிக்கும். Pitch அதிகரிக்கின்ற எது அதிகரிக்குது? Frequency அதிகரிக்குது, which means vibration increasing. Second one, when tension of contracted membrane is decreases, pitch also decreases. At the same time, I have to say another thing. When area increases, pitch also decreases, and area decreases, pitch also increases. So these are the three main musical instruments, and how the examples and how the frequency and pitch of these musical instruments are changing according to their factors. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
சம்மான் துறையில் பிரிண்டிங் துறையின் முன்னோடி பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். வாடிக்கையாளர் மனம் கவர் விதவிதமான திருமண அழைப்பிதழ்கள்,
பேனர், ஆன்பில்ஸ், ரப்பர் ஸ்டாம்ப்ஸ், கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங் அண்ட் பிரிண்டிங், மக் பிரிண்டிங், டிஜிட்டல் பிரிண்டிங் என அனைத்து விதமான பிரிண்டிங் தேவைகளுக்கும்
பிரிண்ட் ஹவுஸ் அட்வர்டைசிங். அல்மார்ஜான் தேசிய பாடசாலை முன்பாக, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை.
தொடர்புகளுக்கு 0777635922. உரிமையாளர் AMM ஆஷிக். நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர் கட்டிடங்களின் தரத்தை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் மெல்பர்ன் இரும்பு கம்பிகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட கிழக்கு மாகாண விநியோகஸ்தர் நிறுவனம் நியூ HRM ஹார்ட்வேர். இலக்கம் 432, அம்பாறை வீதி, சம்மாந்துறை. தொடர்புகளுக்கு 077775 அல்லது 0777 சுதேசி உற்பத்திகளின் அதிகாரமளிக்கப்பட்ட பிராந்திய முகவர் நிறுவனம் அச்சீவர். உரிமையாளர் RM ரைஹான். இர்ஷாத் காதர் நற்பணிமன்றம், சம்மாந்துறை. மொஃபோ நென்சிலர் அண்ட் எஜுகேஷன் காலேஜ், மொஃபோ ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் கிளப், 2015 ஓரிவில் பெட்ச் ஃபவுண்டேஷன், சம்மாந்துறை. ஃபியூச்சர், சம்மாந்துறை. ரிலையன்ஸ் பிரிண்டிங் அண்ட் அட்வர்டைசிங், ருசான் ஸ்டுடியோ, சம்மாந்துறை.